she bore no resemblance to their biological mother. Her possessions were few, yet she offered them her all. Then, a quarter-century afterward, as she stood shaking in front of a judge, one of them entered the room and spoke 2 words that transformed everything. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share where you're viewing from. Let us start. On the fading outskirts of a modest Alabama town, there existed a worn, white-coated house along Elm Street. The coating flaked away, the front deck creaked underfoot, but for 3 small boys discarded by life's cruelty, it became the sole home they would ever experience. And within that dwelling lived Miss Evelyn Carter, a 45-year-old black widow. Evelyn had buried her husband after his battle with cancer. No children had blessed their union, and whatever meager savings they'd accumulated went into the ground with him. She earned her living washing dishes at the neighborhood diner, reserved, compassionate, the sort of woman who placed extra meals on back porches for wandering cats and unhoused veterans. One wet October dawn, she pushed open her screen door and discovered 3 white boys crouched beneath a worn blanket beside her trash containers, without shoes, drenched, trembling. They offered no words, but their expressions revealed everything. Evelyn didn't inquire about their origins. She inquired about their last meal. And in that instant, the dwelling on Elm Street ceased being silent. The eldest was Caleb, perhaps 11, intensely protective of his younger siblings, sporting a fractured tooth and fists that had endured too many battles for someone his age. Drew, approximately 9, was more reserved. His attention shifted constantly, perpetually assessing, perpetually frightened. And Jamie, the baby at 6, continued sucking his thumb and remained mute for the initial 3 months. They were siblings, connected by lineage and wounds. Their mother vanished. Their father, nobody questioned anymore. Child Protective Services had abandoned them. The avenues were their only reality. But Evelyn was unique. She didn't regard them as charity work. She regarded them as her children. She surrendered her bedroom so they could occupy the coziest room in the dwelling. She diluted soup with additional water and fashioned shoes from second-hand store remnants. When surrounding neighbors murmured, "What's she doing keeping those white boys?" Evelyn maintained her dignity and responded, "Children don't select their complexion. They simply require someone to cherish them, correct?" Time marched forward. Caleb engaged in altercations. Drew was caught pilfering. Jamie scarcely uttered words, but shadowed Evelyn constantly, copying her melodies and ultimately reciting scripture alongside her during Sunday services. They were maturing. But society wasn't invariably gentle to boys bearing difficult histories. One summer evening, Caleb returned home bleeding. He'd struck a man who directed a slur at Evelyn beyond the shop. Evelyn offered no reprimand. She simply tended to his bloodied knuckles and murmured, "Hatred screams loudly, but love battles harder." When Jamie reached 16, Evelyn suffered from diabetes, arthritis, and scarcely sufficient funds to manage expenses. But all 3 boys held various jobs. They refused to let her exert herself. And subsequently, individually, they departed. Caleb enlisted in the military. Drew relocated to Chicago. Jamie, the silent one, secured college admission through a scholarship, the pioneer in their household, as Evelyn proudly declared. The day of his departure, Evelyn prepared 3 sandwiches and embraced him firmly. "Listen to me, Jamie Carter," she stated, employing the surname she'd bestowed upon them. "I'm indifferent to where you travel in this world. You belong to me, and I cherish you regardless." Time continued. Evelyn aged further, moved more slowly. The boys telephoned occasionally, forwarded money when possible. Then arrived that day. She had walked to the neighborhood shop for her medication. A man, affluent, white, politically connected, fell outside the drugstore. Emergency responders discovered fentanyl in his bloodstream. Surveillance recordings displayed only Evelyn in proximity to him during the moments preceding his collapse. No evidence of touch, no reason, no background, but the story was simple. A destitute black woman, a deceased man, and an absent prescription container. It was sufficient. She faced arrest. The courtroom was frigid. Evelyn remained in stillness. Her court-appointed attorney contributed minimally. No relatives appeared. No boys in attendance. It seemed as though society had erased her. The prosecution labeled her a criminal, a deceiver, a woman with nothing at stake. And when the guilty determination echoed through the chamber, Evelyn shed no tears. She merely murmured, "Lord, if this is my moment, protect my boys wherever they may be." The sentencing hearing. Life behind bars, potentially execution. The judge's hammer hung, suspended. Then a sound, "Your Honor, if permitted." Shocked reactions filled the space as a towering man advanced forward. Pressed suit, groomed facial hair, eyes glistening with rage and anguish. "I'm Jamie Carter," he announced. "She's innocent of this. She's incapable of it." The judge lifted an eyebrow. "And what authority do you possess to testify?" He moved closer. "I'm the boy she rescued from perishing in an alleyway. I'm the one she instructed in literacy. The one she remained awake all evening with during my medical episodes. I'm the son she didn't deliver, but nurtured with everything she possessed. And I possess evidence." Jamie extracted a flash drive from his pocket. Surveillance recordings from an adjacent structure. More defined, more precise. It revealed the actual perpetrator, the pharmacist's own relative, slipping something into the victim's beverage before Evelyn's arrival. The courtroom suspended its breathing. The judge requested a break. Then, in a commotion, weeping, ovation. Evelyn remained motionless. Not until Jamie, presently a prosperous criminal defense lawyer, rushed to her, dropped to his knees, and grasped her hand. "You didn't assume I'd forgotten, did you?" he murmured. That evening, journalists swarmed her lawn. Neighbors offered apologies. The drugstore shuttered, but Evelyn had no need for publicity. She simply needed her porch seat and her boys. Within 7 days, Drew arrived by plane from Chicago. Caleb came directly from military assignment in uniform. And there they assembled again, 3 adult men positioned at the table like youngsters. She prepared cornbread. They washed the dishes. And when Jamie stepped outdoors for fresh air, Evelyn trailed behind, resting against the barrier. "You rescued my life, Jamie," she said. "No, Mama," he answered. "You granted me mine. I simply returned a portion." Sometimes love doesn't arrive in identical skin shades or flawless moments. Sometimes it arrives in damaged boys and borrowed conviction and concludes in a courtroom wonder.